What is up, everybody? Dan here, Crypto Capital Venture, August 6, 2019, Litecoin live stream. It's been a while. I feel like I haven't done a Litecoin video, like just solely Litecoin. So that's what I'm doing in this video. I want to talk about it. We had the halving yesterday. I feel like a failure that I didn't even do a Litecoin halving video, but I wanted to just kind of cover Litecoin price. I wanted to look at the charts a little bit. Now that the halving has happened, everybody's always trying to find correlation with the halving. So wanted to talk about price, wanted to see some interesting dynamics between the last halving, this current halving, a certain pattern that really has us being prepared for two price targets, $140 area and then $70 area. So I want to talk about those things in this video, and I guess we'll just jump in. I want to try and keep this video to the point for any replay viewers. So what we can do is we can pivot over to this screen where we have the charts, and let's do it. And you see on the screen, essentially an ascending triangle of sorts. I love these patterns, everybody. So we have an ascending triangle that we've fallen into, and before we really even discuss like the price targets, potential price targets, this one really pretty much into the upper 60s. I believe if we break to the downside of this pattern, I believe that we'll make our way to the 60s. I do. That is long term what we've been talking about for a while on this channel, namely because that's pretty much what happened in the last halving. We hit the 50-week moving average. And that's right down here in the 60s area is the 50-week moving average. So before we get into all that, I want to show you something. If we go to the daily chart, so right now we were just looking at the daily chart. Here's the current daily chart for Litecoin. If we look at the daily chart at the last halving for Litecoin, you see some interesting things. And check it out. We have a similar setup. We have a similar setup for Litecoin, which is an ascending triangle. Now, the timing of this triangle is a little different, right? It's not exactly where we are now, right? Because if we look at this ascending triangle and the halving, this horizontal line, the halving is almost 75% to the apex of this ascending triangle. Now, back in 2015, it was like right at the beginning of the ascending triangle. So there's a little bit of a time gap there in terms of it. But interestingly enough, Litecoin saw its crazy gains leading up to the halving, and we fell into this ascending triangle, right? And that was kind of like had a bullish break to the upside. So similarly, Litecoin has seen bullish gains, right, leading into the halving. Obviously, we remember in the 140s, almost 150. And then from there, we fell into now an ascending triangle. Things are happening quicker. Same thing I talked about in a video earlier. Things are happening quicker for Bitcoin as well. And here we have an ascending triangle happening quicker. Now, when we look at the patterns alone, there's similarities, right? But the other thing I noticed when I was just looking at the charts, there are similarities when we're looking at the momentum oscillators. So Litecoin in the 2015 halving fell into this ascending triangle, right? That first swing low, the beginning of that triangle. You see on the RSI, this very key indicator on the daily chart in the oversold area. That's a very key area to accumulate most often for Litecoin, right? Now, let's go back to our momentum oscillators for Litecoin this time around. Litecoin fell into the beginning of the ascending triangle, exactly like 2015. What did the momentum oscillator do on the RSI? Boom, exactly the same pretty much. Fell into the oversold area on the RSI, and that would probably have been a nice area to buy, especially if you're trading, right? Accumulate. We just came down from 140, 150 area, so accumulating after a dip like that down here in the 70s, extremely wise decision, in my opinion. Now, the question is, are we going to go lower? Well, if we take what happened, I mean, this scenario has played out ridiculously in terms of similarities. So, like, we went into the halving, we had the same symmetrical or the same ascending triangle set up. perfectly synergistic with our RSI here in the oversold. And then if we look at the stock RSI, obviously it's in the oversold area as well, similarly. So the question is, what's going to happen next, right? So historically, in that last halving, out of that symmetrical, or that, I keep saying symmetrical triangle, out of that ascending triangle, Litecoin had a break to the upside, right? That's what happened. It's literally on the charts here. It was a little bit after the halving, obviously, but it had a break out of the upper end of the ascending triangle. So I like what Wendell said. History doesn't always repeat, but it does rhyme. So I've heard. And I agree. So like, we can't take historical data and be like, oh, it's going to happen again. I mean, that would be awesome if that was true, if we could do that. But we can't. However, Wendell is right. It does rhyme. And so the reason it rhymes, especially from a chart perspective, is just because there really is a flow to this mess of cryptocurrencies. When you zoom out on the charts, right, there's an actual flow here. You can't pinpoint it exactly what's going to happen next, but there are a ton of consistencies. It's exactly why, like, you know, I started this channel at the top of this bull run back here, and we really did a really good job anticipating the bottom, right? And a lot of it has to do with the predictability of the move and flow of Bitcoin and Litecoin. I'm not sitting here saying I called the bottom or anything like that. However, if you've been watching this channel, we've talked about the potential similarities in these cycles, and they keep playing out over and over again. So the one thing that is a little bit diverging away from itself, obviously we're falling into this ascending triangle. The momentum oscillators look perfectly aligned, right, between back then in 2015 and now. The only difference really is, if we go to the weekly chart, is this. The weekly, Litecoin on the weekly consolidated, right? And this is where the bottom of that symmetrical triangle is, right here on the daily chart, but it consolidated to the 50-week moving average. And that's one thing that's one thing that has not happened. Litecoin has not consolidated to the 50-week moving average. So it's almost perfectly lined up where we can be like, oh man, the charts look exactly the same, even in terms of oversold on the momentum oscillators, even in terms of the actual pattern that we have a ascending triangle in play, even in terms of lining up exactly with an event that only happens every 4 years, the halving. So we have all these things. It's like, oh, this is like great. This is like a dead giveaway that we're going to have a similar move for Litecoin, namely a breakout like we had in 2015 to the top of that ascending triangle, right? But the one reason that I especially have caution, just besides the fact that I always have caution, and it probably annoys some people because I'm a little too conservative for some people, but the biggest reason is because the weekly chart, we haven't consolidated down to the 50-week moving average, and that's probably the biggest thing that concerns me a little bit. And I use the word concern lightly because it's not really a concern. If we did move down to the 50-week moving average, this is Bitfinex, by the way, that's in the $67 area. Now, if we go to our target to the downside, we're in that area, 70, high 60s for a target to the downside. So it would make 100% complete sense if Bitcoin saw continued downside from here, right down here. Here's a daily chart, but this is where the weekly moving average is. The 50-week moving average runs right to the target. There's a ton of confluence down there, both in the cycles of these Litecoin charts and with the actual price target hits for this actual pattern here, this ascending triangle. So that leads us to our price targets, right? What are we going to get? Well, I just gave you all the data that tells us the possibilities, and that's all this is. It's all chart analysis is. It's giving us the possibilities, and then from there you sit back, you sit back on your computer, you go lay down at night, talk to your husband or wife, and you say, what are we going to do here, right? Are we going to accumulate or not, honey? And that's it. You make your own decisions. Don't listen to YouTubers for that. You listen to YouTubers to gather data, like it takes time to like put all this together and organize it and put it out there. So use the data that I'm giving you, but don't listen to myself or other YouTubers about accumulating or investing. That's just not wise in my opinion. So here are our price targets from a purely technical perspective. This ascending triangle in the 140 range, and then to the upside, by the way, if we get a bullish break, and then to the downside, we're looking at around 60, the high 60s, I would say. My approach, everybody, you know this, is, and I talked about this, I definitely talked about this when we were up here, enjoying the gains, this potential consolidation going into the halving. This plays completely into my approach, this very accumulative approach where you kind of have to sit back, you have to enjoy the gains while they're lasting. It's definitely more fun to refresh portfolios when we're like enjoying these gains. But action wise, I personally take action in events like this where Litecoin has retraced a lot and is very evident just on this daily chart alone, going back from this swing high back on June 22nd. It's very evident if you look at the weekly chart, it's retraced a lot. And so accumulating Litecoin down in these areas is just a better way of is a better approach for myself and in what I do, which is buy the dips. It's very simple. And then furthermore, in my 100% complete opinion, don't hate me for it. Don't hate me for it. There's total possibility to hit the 50-week moving average. I want to throw this out there. When we were enjoying these gains and I was saying, everybody, we're oversold on the weekly, right? Remember this? Or I'm sorry, we're overbought on the weekly, everybody. We're at a very key area of resistance because this is exactly what happened back in 2015, everybody. Be ready for a pullback. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but be ready for a pullback. I followed it by saying this. Be ready for a very big pullback, but I don't think it's going to pull back to the 50-week moving average. I said that. I did not think Litecoin would go from, close to 150 and a retracement down to the 50-week moving average. I certainly said it's possible because it's exactly what it did in the last halving, right? That consolidation to 50-week moving average. I just said I didn't think it would. But now that we're in this pattern with a perfect setup, right, for a target that would offer continuation for Litecoin to that 50-week moving average on the weekly. Now I'm on the daily. That's why you don't see that line there. It's right here. So while I did say that I don't think it will go there, I'm not going to sit here and say I don't think it'll go there right now. I probably, if I had to guess, would say it is not going to go there. But right now it's just a more realistic looking possibility, isn't it? When you're looking at the charts, it's just a big possibility. And right now we're at the bottom trend line. If we really want to zoom in here, what's going on? We're at the bottom trend line here of this ascending triangle, and when we were at the bottom trend line of the ascending triangle in 2015 halving, what happened? We got some bounce to the upside, came back down, consolidated, and then we got a break closer to right around that looks probably around the 80% mark to the apex. So I think a big helpful tool in this situation is this. If we look at the momentum oscillators, here's a daily chart momentum oscillator. You see what Litecoin did all within this ascending triangle, right? We hit our oversold area right at the beginning of the triangle, and we just kind of saw momentum to the upside. Higher highs, higher lows on this RSI. So if we go to the daily chart here, what is that momentum oscillator doing? It's doing very similar, maybe a little bit more sideways consolidation, but still higher highs, higher lows on this RSI. And it began this ascending triangle with this oversold indicator on the RSI. Ton of similarities. Last thing I do want to look at on that is this. Before Litecoin actually broke out of the ascending triangle here back in 2015. On the quicker moving momentum oscillator, you see it actually came from overbought to oversold quite quickly, right? And in that move, what Litecoin was doing was it was visiting the upper trend line. It was seeing resistance at the upper trend line here, and it came back down. And it actually came all the way back down on the stock RSI from a price range perspective, 7 to 8%. And when you're looking at the stock RSI, that's a healthy move when you're getting closer to the apex of a triangle like this, of a pattern like this. You want that quicker moving momentum oscillator to consolidate for, to really set itself up for a larger potential breakthrough to the upside, right? So it's exactly what Litecoin did. So what I'm really interested in right now is to watch that stock RSI, because right now the pattern is exactly the same. We're not quite as far, right? I don't know exactly how far to the apex we are. We can actually, let me use my, we can actually measure, because I'm just curious as I'm doing this video, how far we are. So I would say 43, 25. So we're around 58% to the apex, right? So I think we still might have a little bit of ways to go, but my point is this. I'd really be interested on the stock RSI down here to see if we come back down as we really approach the 75%, 80% to the apex of this triangle. Are we going to get consolidation? For that to happen, we might get this is completely speculative. This is just one scenario. Litecoin can kind of maybe see some resistance at the upper trend line. Maybe we go to $100, $105 in the next couple days. We actually get rejection. We come back down, and in an event like that, if it comes down enough to that lower trend line, maybe we come back down into the oversold on the stock RSI. Maybe that would be our setup for a breakthrough. That's kind of like the bullish setup that I would like to see. But right now, ton of similarities all across the board, whether you're looking at this ascending triangle pattern, whether you're looking at the RSI, the stock RSI. And in fact, it's a little bit difficult to see, but similarities on the MACD. You can see the MACD down here, kind of the whole ascending triangle. You see MACD above zero, and then kind of a little consolidation right when we came into that oversold on the stock RSI, and then boom, we got our big MACD cross above the signal line right at that apex where we broke out. So if we look at the charts now, Litecoin, very similar looking. I guess, it's so similar looking. Just small kind of consolidation and squeezing as we enter the apex of this triangle. Not sure where we're going to get to in terms of momentum to the zero on the histogram. I know we got below it towards the apex of that last one a little bit, and then we broke to the upside. See how that plays out, but it's definitely interesting to watch and to see the similarities of how that plays out. And that's Litecoin. 2 targets, everybody. Very critical time for Litecoin. I'm extremely long-term bullish. You know this. 60s, if that happens, here's our target. It's lining up perfectly on the charts. If it happens, it won't surprise me at all. I will be buying Litecoin if it happens. This is that event where we're down here at the 50-week moving average. It would be insane if we get there, because we've talked about it so long, and we said, wow, that would be like perfect harmony, a perfect reflection of the 2015 halving if it happened. If we get down there, that would be absolutely insane. So that's that. That's that, everybody. Weekly RSI, by the way, it looks very nice. It looks very healthy. You can see the synergy once again on the weekly chart. Looks so smooth. We hit our overbought resistance, just like the last halving. We came back down, right? Boom, resistance, came back down. Now the question is, are we going to enter a phase of accumulation for Litecoin before the bull run really comes into play? And we're talking, the reason you see the charts like this, Bitcoin has to do with this a little bit. Bitcoin halving, right? A little less than a year away. So there very well could be a consolidation phase again in this area down here, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever. Definitely a different consolidation area though, isn't it? rather than the $4 area, the $5 area, the $3 area. We're in a different world. And this is not the bull market, everybody. I'm sorry. I know people like really hate me saying that, but this is not the bull market. This is the precursor. And I'm telling you, the fact that I'm saying that is not because I'm bearish. It's quite the opposite. That's how bullish I am. If we're seeing these gains, these incredible gains, and I'm saying that's not the bull market yet, what will the actual bull market gains look like? Well, if you want an illustration of that, if you want a picture of that, it's right here. It's literally right here on the charts. It happened 2015. 700, 800% gains. That was not the bull market. That was not the bull market. That was the precursor, everybody. And it's the same exact thing. 500% gains, not the bull market. It's a precursor. It's a precursor to the bull market. So those are my thoughts. I actually want to visit real quick LTC BTC pair. I think it's important I bring it up real quick. Number one, I want to highlight this by saying I don't want to say recommend. I don't want to give advice, but I just don't think it's wise playing the BTC LTC pair, trying to gain on each other. I'm an accumulator of both. And I like it. I like doing it that way. I like putting USD into BTC. I like putting USD into LTC. I like accumulating both. And I want the amount I have in both. I want them just to keep, I don't want to jeopardize, you know what I'm saying, the ratios that I'm comfortable with. So right now, if you're looking at the weekly chart, we've talked about this for a while. I think even before we even got this right shoulder dip, potential inverse head and shoulders. If you're looking at weekly closes, we have our left shoulder, we have a head. Now we have a potential right shoulder in play, getting close though to just really being broken, right? Litecoin, if Litecoin sees downside to this close down here, we're talking not far away, only another 11% away. This inverse head and shoulders is not in play. But right now, I mean, Litecoin looks fine. I know Litecoin's down. People are freaking out about that. And it kind of frustrates me when I see comments. Litecoin right now against BTC is down 60%. And people, sometimes I get comments. There are people that don't like Litecoin, but they're basically like, how can you watch your Litecoin lose so much value against BTC and be okay with that? Well, first off, it's a matter of perspective. My approach isn't trading LTC, BTC. My approach is accumulating both, and both for good reason. They both have their benefits to me. They both have their value to me. And when we're looking from a strictly LTC, BTC pair perspective, this is what happens all the time. This is just the way it goes. The dips of Litecoin against Bitcoin, it happens. What I'm especially interested in seeing is the strength of Litecoin one day, getting above key resistance areas on this pair. This inverse head and shoulders long-term can be part of it, right? Going into the end of 2019, potentially into 2020. Might we get above that 0.02? I don't know, but it's a potential setup we've been watching for probably easily months now, I guess. I'm pretty sure we started charting it before we even had a right shoulder in play. But now we have a right shoulder in play, and it'll be very interesting to see what happens. Wanted to do this video for all you awesome Litecoin people out there. I know I feel like I've been ignoring Litecoin a little bit, but it's nothing personal. I've just been very busy. I'm still trying to get settled in, trying to get acclimated here, trying to work, things of that nature. And I appreciate your patience, but that's Litecoin. There's a lot going on. It's bullish. It's so bullish. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculously bullish. Everything's looking so beautiful, everybody, in my opinion. I'm bullish. I'm telling you. Rob D, what is up, dude? I feel like I haven't talked to you in a while, man. Dan, that wood background is fire. Thanks, dude. I appreciate it. It was quite an interesting journey getting that installed. But thanks, man. I think it's like closely resembles what I used to have. But Appreciate you being here, man. It's good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Need wire mold. I know. I need to cover the wire. This thing, dude, look at this. I also need I need to be able to turn this LED. I need to get the guy that set up the LED for me. I need to get him to give me like a remote to turn the light down. It's very bright. Poseidon Lewis here. I didn't even know. $9.99 super chat. Thanks, dude. I appreciate you, man. I hope I see you soon. I hope I see you at the Litecoin Summit. By the way, everybody, 1,456 days, 18 hours, 39 minutes, 27 seconds away from the Litecoin halving. I'm going to start pumping that. I'm going to start putting out those Litecoin halving videos once a week because it's close, everybody. The Litecoin halving is close. I'm excited. Total Litecoin in circulation, 63 million. We're 75% there. I can't even harp on the scarcity issue, the supply shock issue enough to just tell you how bullish I am on Litecoin, and Bitcoin just the same. I'm so bullish. It's just awesome. It's risky. I'm telling you, crypto can fail. Like we can all lose our investments or our money somehow. I don't know. It's always a possibility. But I like the odds right now. I just do. I'm comfortable with it. Don't spend more than you can afford to lose, people. Litecoin Summit 2019, go register. I think the price just went up a little bit, but you can use Crypto Capital Venture as your code as you're checking out and save 10%. That should help you. I think that should maybe bring you back down to the early bird special price. I don't know. But do it. Crypto Capital Venture discount code if you want to go. I would love to meet you. It would be awesome. I'm sure I'm going to meet many of you there. It'd be really cool. Those are my thoughts, everybody. That's my thoughts for the night. Time for me to go relax a little bit. Litecoin, telling you, it's so bullish. It's unbelievable. I can't believe how this thing has played out. It's almost ridiculous. It really is almost ridiculous. I love how my face is covering the actual Litecoin halving and Litecoin Summit 2019 website. Go to the website, everybody. Type in Crypto Capital Venture if you want to get tickets. And get tickets and meet us there. We'll be there. And that's it. Everybody, thank you for coming by. If you're here right now, you're not a subscriber, have some fun. Hit the subscribe button. I promise. I will make this channel better. I will get better. I promise. I have to bribe you with greatness. But subscribe. I would love to have you as part of the channel, especially as we enter the bull market. It'll be fun. I love getting to know some of you all out there. And commenters, appreciate you. People smashing the likes. LTC, Perosi, thank you, man. Mods, appreciate you. That's it. I will see you all in the very next video, probably tomorrow. Have a great day, and God bless.